Hello, sports gamers, and welcome back to another edition of the ECL Elite, our final regular season broadcast. My name is Sin, joined here today by none other than B Major. Did such a good job, we just had to bring him back to do color commentary. And today we have some exciting matchups. But first, B Major, how you doing? How you feeling?
Doing great, Sid. Happy to be here. Called the Pro Series here just a few days ago, and big shoes to fill here in 2GC. But man, oh man, excited to be here with you in two great matchups with some playoff seeding implications. Nevertheless, gotta love that final match day when so many things can change and so many seasons can potentially change. So excited to be here and excited to see some really fun hockey between some of the better teams here in the ECL Elite Division.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you mentioned some of the better teams in this first matchup. We have Färjestad going up against ZSC. And then a little bit later, we have, oh man, Havu Gaming taking on H-Reds, a couple of the top teams, a former champion and a champion from days past in Havu Gaming. And that should be an absolutely exciting matchup. But in this first one, ZSC, Färjestad, again, Färjestad has that playoff position locked in. ZSC really trying to sort of fight to stay out of those relegation positions. And we'll take a quick look around what else has been happening throughout the league as well. Some of the latest results of the other games that we have seen. As you could see on screen right there, it's been very, very interesting with Havu Gaming taking a couple important decisions off of Havu. Edinburgh, we saw fighting with Jure Gordon, couple close ones there, overtime matches, etc., so forth. I mean, as you can see, B Major, there's no easy matchup really when it comes to this division.
That's what's so great about the Elite Division is that it doesn't matter where you are or who the team is that you were playing against. You are going to have a tough team to match up against regardless of the matchup. And you can even see that in some of the results in this game right here, as you can even see that HV71, a team fighting to stay out of that relegation zone as much as they can, competing with a team in IQ that is surely in those playoff positioning. So you never know who you're going to play against when it comes to the positioning of teams, but you always know that it's going to be a tough matchup. You're going to have to inch and scratch and claw for every win that you earn.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we say it time and time again, expect the unexpected, and there is really no easy matchup. And we'll take a look at the standings as they are right now. And the left hand of the bracket is where you want to be. And you can sort of see by the point values, it is completely solidified at this point. Mathematically, I mean, Goons have, well, I mean, the 7-8 spot still up for grabs, but on that left hand side of the bracket, those will be your playoff teams. And at this point, just kind of comes down to seeding. And it's interesting. Färjestad, who's playing first at 41 points. Havu, who's playing in the matchup after, also at 41 points. So they could be swapping all around. They may even kind of catch up or pass IQ. It's just, yeah, even though the playoff brackets are set, the seeding could ultimately change, and that could have huge implications, as you don't want to necessarily be one of those teams to face Sawo, H-Reds, or Frölunda.
I think that's so huge. And what makes it kind of fun about our two matchups is that we're going to see that 4, 5, and 6 battle kind of unfold here in front of our very eyes. Obviously, usually you wouldn't be playing a team like Frölunda at that 3 seed, but with the way that Sawo has stepped up a little bit unexpectedly, being at that 1 spot, and obviously I think everyone knew that H-Reds would probably be in one of those top 2 spots. You're going to have to face one of those elite teams if you were at that number 6 position. So really almost imperative that you do not end up in that 6th spot in the most ideal of situations. So really huge matchups here for both Färjestad and Havu, and it's going to just be really fun to see because we get to see both of those teams and kind of get to see their playing off positionings unfold. So going to be a lot of fun to see how that develops, because I know that neither one of them want to go up against Frölunda in the first round.
Yeah, no easy task. Former champions many times over. This is the first time in a while we've seen Frölunda out of that 1 or 2 seeding. But let's check out the teams in our first matchup here between Färjestad and ZSC. And you can tell by the stats here, one team definitely in that playoff position by the record alone, but also some of those individual stats. Anything that stands out to you, B Major?
I think the special teams could be a really big one. There's a pretty large differential on both the power play and the penalty kill. ZSC kind of struggling in that special team, 6.9% on the power play and 75% on the penalty kill, while Färjestad taking advantage a little bit more on that power play at 27%, which around the top half of the ECL Elite Division, and their penalty kill has to be one of the best really among all teams. So that's kind of one of the big differences that you see. And a lot of times when special teams can really be the difference between a 1 or 2 goal game, especially in the Elite Division where all the teams are such a high quality, really can make a big difference. And CSC going to want to correct that against a really good playoff team in Färjestad, playing for a lot in terms of playoff positioning.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you mentioned probably one of the top PKs. They are top 5 with the fourth best penalty kill. So that could, go a long way to help them, as you said, kind of prevent some important goals at some clutch times. But, safest play is to just stay out of the box nonetheless. But we'll get a look at the lineups here between these two teams and, a couple changes from what you may expect to see. Obviously, on the ZSC side, on that left wing, I dingled you out in the center, Original Snus, and on the wing, Berkedal. On defense, it's Tony and Haldim, and back between the pipes is Chich. And for Färjestad here, of course, the man himself, Afe, always have to watch out for him. Malin in the middle, Folpatoflen on that right wing side, Sebi Larsson, Mr. Nipsley on the point, and today, Provocacia between the pipes, no McSavid. And I don't know, could that be a pretty big factor in today's matchup?
Obviously, you get a goalie like McSavid back there, and it does give you that little extra boost of confidence where if things break down a little bit and the team gets that clear-cut opportunity, you have that elite-level goalie in McSavid back there to make that save. So maybe that confidence level a little bit drops off, but that they really believe in Cheech to be able to come in, make those big saves. He's played 2 games, and he's 1-1 in those games, but an 87.5 save percentage. So maybe the sample size not there, and maybe not that same, I guess you could say, confidence or that same know-how that you would have with McSavid back there, just being the goalie that he is in this division. But another really quality goalie in net back there for Färjestad, so you don't worry too much. Just a bit of a difference in who you're seeing back there, nevertheless.
Absolutely, and we'll go to the individual matchups now as well, and we'll start off as we do with the centers, the battle between Mullen and Original Snus. As you can see by the points, not too big of a differential, despite their differential in the standings. Snus perhaps more of the goal scorer here, but any sort of keys that you're looking at in this individual matchup?
I think face-off percentage could be a big one, and it's even more interesting in this case because it's 46% to 54%, so you kind of get that whole part of the pizza kind of comparison there. So Malin, we always, one of the better centers in the ECL Elite, and he is kind of the disher of this line. He has 32 assists, and he's known to be that playmaker for Färjestad. Well, like you said, Sin, Snoo's kind of known to be that two-way guy, can pass it and can score it as well. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see how Malin, who is known to set up his teammates a little bit more, compared to Snooze, who could be a little bit more of a threat from that center position to put 1 or 2 in.
Yeah, absolutely. ZSC definitely have a lot of threats up front, so we'll move over to the winger battle, and this one to me is incredibly interesting. It's the ever-present threat of Afe, and it's got to be the strategy of ZSC. How do you shut that man down? All he does is score goals.
Yeah, 29 goals this season. That is for 6 in the league. So that whenever you're playing Afe, it's going to be tough, but you just kind of have to trust your defense that they're up to the task and trust your goalie to make those big saves, which could be huge here for ZSC against a winner like Afe. We know how good he is, and you cannot doubt Folpatoflen on that right wing either. He has 20 goals to his own right, so if you get a little bit too fixated looking at how Afe has that goal scoring ability, you could very easily kind of lax off on that right side, and Folpatoflen just as much of a goal scoring threat. Off his 35 points, like we mentioned, 20 goals. So both of those guys you have to keep a large account for here if you're ZSC.
Absolutely. I mean, Folpatoflen that you were mentioning has experience playing center, has experience playing defense. I mean, he's dangerous pretty much from anywhere on the ice. Speaking of defense, we'll move over to that matchup here between these two teams. Of course, for Färjestad, Sebi Larsson, Mr. Nipsley, and then on the side of ZSC, Tony and Haldim. And you can kind of see the differential a little bit in points. It's not huge, but it's definitely noticeable.
Yeah, and that's kind of where you see where these two teams are in the standings. You kind of see the stats kind of match up to par with that. Obviously, not necessarily indicative on the talents of these two defensemen of ZST, but kind of just shows you where some of the struggles have been this season and where that creeps in to some of those stats. And a lot of times those stats in those struggles can kind of come down on the defenseman and goaltending, even if the talent might not show exactly how good of a team that they are compared to their record. But ZSC, they're going to have a tough challenge today. Afe, Mala, and Fapatoflin on the other end. These two defensemen and Sebi and Mr. Desuli are going to have to show up big and big time, even against ZSC. So the defense could be huge, not just for ZSC, but for Färjestad too. And keep in mind, Färjestad, that defense has shown up all season. They lost their two defensemen before the season, too, granted, and a lot of teams doubted them for that. So they are used to stepping up in big-time moments. So not going to be surprised to see them step up here, but they're going to have to do it against a ZSC team that's hungry and trying to avoid that relegation status.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these are huge points on the lines. You know, maybe not as much for Färjestad, but huge nonetheless. So move over to what could indeed be the key of this of these head-to-heads here, and that's the goaltender duo here. As we saw, I mean, Provocacia there coming in hot with the only 2 games played, but a very high save percentage, good performances in those 2 games. Then you see Chich there, a little bit below what we want to call around average, just below that 80% save mark.
Yeah, and you kind of said it there, Sid, that 80% is what you ideally strive for as a goalie, but he's not that far off of it, ideally, 78.9%. So that's really just a game here, a game there. That's really the difference in that. You have to remember an 8-9-1 record, so it's not like they're just a struggling team when he's in there. Around that 500 mark, you have to keep in mind, ZSC is 11-15-2, so they are better with Chich in the lineup compared to without him. So you know that they have that ability to win games. He has that ability to make those saves, but I think the even bigger thing is on the other side, and Provocacia, having those 2 games played, how big of a difference and how big of a, not step down, but how big of a difference is it going to be without McSaven in there, where you kind of know where you're getting out of him. Provocacia, 2 games played, so not the largest sample size. That you play a hungry ZSC team with a lot to play for. So it's going to be fun to see that difference between McSaven and Provocacia and how that kind of develops itself.
Yeah, I mean, again, this could be really, really big. As you mentioned, kind of a smaller sample size, maybe a bit of that kind of uncertainty moving forward into this matchup, and something that ZSC is maybe going to want to try to exploit. But at the same time, I mean, we kind of mentioned, you know, their defensemen, how their points were sort of on par there. I mean, Afe is a guy who could just somehow sneak through the zone and sneak into your back line before you can even know it. So, I mean, if you're a defenseman who like to kind of move in and help out on the offensive side of things, it can be very difficult when you have to essentially keep an eye on Afe at all times, because we've had some matchups where he just seems to disappear, and then all of a sudden he's got the puck and he's on a breakaway. So could be a kind of a tough bout of work here for ZSC. But again, these are important points. They want to stay out of that relegation position. Färjestad are already sort of locked in the playoffs, but again, don't necessarily want to find themselves facing Frölunda in the first game. And we do see that the teams are matched up, and we get a good look at the builds here. And I mean, maybe you've gotten a taste of the European meta so far with the builds. What do you think of it so far?
It's a lot interesting. Apparently, you know, it's in NA, you see a lot more of that speedy style with 5'7" danglers, or you see power forwards that are 6'2", 230, and it feels like in EU, you see a lot of puck-moving defensemen and forward, and it feels like a lot of the forwards kind of use that same kind of meta around 6', 6'1", puck-moving defensemen at those forward spots, and the defensemen you'll even see using those same builds a lot of the time, so it's kind of interesting compared to that really run-and-gun style that you'll see in the NA, the EU, with a lot more of a balanced base build in terms of height, size, and speed. So it's a lot of fun to kind of watch the difference there in terms of just comparison to how they play and the way that the builds kind of play into that, so to speak.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of more of a puck possession style across on the European side of things. But there you guys get a look at the ECL 22 Elite prize pool there between the winter, the spring season, and of course the ultimate prize, the grand final at the end of all things. New format here. Keep raising the bar at the ECL Elite. And again, things keep getting bigger. The prizes keep getting bigger, and hopefully the league recognition continues to go on the rise as it has. But we are just moments away from puck drop between Färjestad and ZSC Esports. What do you think the key is going to be here for ZSC to get off to the right kind of start?
I think a big thing is going to be how can you shut down that forward group of Färjestad. We talked about how Afe is having that ability to be able to just all of a sudden he's just there and he scores 2 or 3 goals in a matter of 2 periods, and then you cannot doubt Malin and Fapatoflin either. So how can you mitigate that scoring and mitigate the high quality of opportunities that Färjestad is able to get? That's going to be a big key for ZSC if they want to win these 2 games.
Absolutely, and off to a good start here in the offensive zone. A shot on net by Original Snus. Glove down by Profakacha, getting that first save off early. Definitely a good thing. Sometimes if you wait too long before that first save, you can kind of come into the game cold. But in that one, makes a nice save. We'll have an offensive zone face-off here for ZSC. Malin, though, good job on the draw. Wins it. Fopatoflin starts the breakout. Sent back to Sebi Larsson. Sebi Larsson circles around looking for support, finds it in Mr. Nipsley. Decent forecheck coming out from ZSC, but they don't want to overextend. Now Färjestad in on the attack, trying to box in the defenseman. Won't have much luck. Fopatoflin with the pressure, but they do break it out. Berkdahl sends it back into the zone. Bit of an errant pass there, and Tony will have to recover. Up the ice now, Original just looking for the break-in. Taken away by Fopatoflin. Couldn't quite turn. May have had a lane up the boards right there. Couldn't quite get a handle on it. Bit of back and forth action, and it does lead to an offside.
Yeah, we saw that first opportunity there for ZSC, and ever since that first shot, like you said, Sin, kind of back and forth, things kind of slowing down a little bit. You'll see a lot of times that first 10 minutes or so, kind of that feeling out period to see the way that the game's going to flow, kind of getting that here through the first 5 minutes between these 2.
Absolutely, as Berkdahl moves in down that wing side. Nice little give and go from behind the net, but Malin snuffed it out right there. Bit of a drop pass from Fopatoflin, then a pass back up. Didn't quite connect on it. A lot of puck movement there, but the ZSC back check is able to stop it. And here's something that we haven't seen it too often, but have seen more this year, the dump and chase in the EU scene. Original Sussa, what a shot and a bigger save by Profakacha there. That was Tony hitting the one-timer from the point and right in back on the attack now, Färjestad. Fopatoflin will have it behind the net. What a pass, trying to sneak it in. Afe gets it just wide, fires it wide. Chich was sort of there. That one had a chance to go in. He was sprawled on the ice, but Afe simply missed the net. We do not see that too often. Shot on, and the save that turned away from Profakacha. Teams trading chances right now. He's getting a little dicey. Fopatoflin starting to break out to Malin. Afe with that speed gets it, dodges the hit, but does get bumped off by Berkdahl. Original Snus sends it up to Eigel. Dangled you out, works his way in. Always have to watch out for I dangled you out. He loves to lay the body here, so I'm sure Färjestad is going to be ready for that. Malin, there it is, as if on cue. Dangled you out, crushes Malin as he entered the zone, but Färjestad maintains possession. Malin, the one time, what a block. Haldim just saved a goal right there.
Wow, and that was huge. That's a few chances now for Färjestad the last few minutes. And you mentioned what dangled it out, by the way, #1 in the league in hits so far this season, 234.
I mean, you can see why. Loves to run the body, uses that truculence and that power forward build, and just kind of loves to run people over. Horrible turnover there. Fopatoflin in alone on the break. Pass back to Afe, and he scores. What a play. Oftentimes that drop pass can seem ill-advised, but perfectly timed. Afe, with half an open net to shoot at, capitalizes.
That's just a great example of what happens when you... Oh, is it no goal?
I didn't even see the ref wave it off, and I apparently didn't see the contact on the goaltender. Wow. That is okay. Well, we've had a few questionable ones. Perhaps we just both completely missed it, but I feel a bit better, as you also didn't think that was getting waved off. So what a wild first period. I think that's the only way to describe it so far. Oh, and here's a break chance for Berkdahl, and he gets tripped up, actually. And ZSC will now go to the power play. What a swing of momentum here for what looked like a goal. Now a power play for ZSC.
Yeah, those are the types of swings that can really change games. If you're Färjestad, you think you're up 1-0, you have a beautiful play between your 2 wingers in Afe and Fapatoflin, and then all of a sudden the goal gets taken off the board. ZSC comes in on the other end, gets a chance, and now they're on the power play. They were not great on the power play, as we mentioned earlier, at that 9%. We'll see if they can take advantage with that momentum, kind of swinging their way a little bit after that really wild change of events there, son.
Yeah, absolutely. And Färjestad, a team that, as you can see there, definitely aggressive at all times. Not just going to sit back on the PK, but that does open up some space, and ZSC has it in the offensive zone. Errant pass, though, back to it. Yeah, that was Tony. Just simply missed it. Looked like He was moving forward a bit, and that's perhaps why the pass was a bit more in front of him, but stopped up, didn't want to commit too deep, but only about 30 seconds left on the power play here for ZSC. They got to get this in, try to set it up quickly. Is little trouble right there for Original Snus, turns it over. Nice stick lift, though, to strip that off of Mullen. Berkdahl trying to move in the zone. Haldim passed over, the man out of the box. Sebi Larson rushing back to his position. Pass up to Afe. Afe, nice bit of L skating. Finds Sebi Larson. Back to Afe. Tries to gain the zone. They will hold it. Mullen over to Afe. What a pass. Made it through, but a better save by Chich. Turns that one away on the doorstep.
Yeah, that was a really nice pass. Just kind of squeezed that through in a tight window there. A solid play. Just Färjestad showing that skill that they have in the chemistry between their 5 players.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we often see the long stretch passes coming from the zone, but that one was, pretty much from the point back down low to Afe. A tough pass to make, but they did connect on it. Chich, however, was all over it. And still no score. Perhaps a bit surprising with how this has gone so far here at the end of the first. Could not get a final chance on, and that will do it. Still a 0-0 score at the end of one, but plenty of chances for both sides.
You alluded to it, Sid. With the action we saw, you wouldn't think that this was a 0-0 game. We saw Färjestad with 2 or 3 dangerous chances. They were able to capitalize on one, and then that weird called off goal. And then now with ZSC, they had the opening chance, and things went quiet for them for a little bit. Then the last couple minutes, they finally kind of got some momentum going on that power play with a few different chances there in the last 5 minutes. So, man, it might be scoreless, but we have not been shorted of action, to say the least. And if this is what we're going to get the next 40 minutes, boy, oh boy, are we in for a good one.
Yeah, we just got to look at that last Afe shot from that pass from Mullen. Went I think between the legs of the defender, and he still got the shot away, but it was Chich all over that one, as we're seeing a few shots taken by either team in this. I don't know how to call this one right now. I mean, I don't know who gets the advantage first. I thought for sure Färjestad had that opening goal off that beautiful play, but as we saw, it was called back. They got to be feeling perhaps a bit salty about that, but time to strap on the work boots here in this second period. As Mullen has it back to the point. Sebi Larson, nice move. They work it down low. Mullen sweeps out front, and there it is. Tests the short side and finds Pater. Mullen makes it 1-0 Färjestad.
Well, you rose the question, Sin, who's going to be able to take that momentum first with the way that this game has kind of been so back and forth. Well, Färjestad, they provide answers there just about a minute into the second period. A beautiful shot there from Afe, using that close quarters X factor to its advantage, even if it was a little bit of a further out shot, placing it beautifully right in the one spot that he could fit that in. We know how good of a goal scorer he is. That's number 34 on the season. He gets things kicked off for Färjestad 1-0.
ZSC, Tony tries the shot. Doesn't connect. Sebi Larson misses the puck. Original Snus looks for the shot. And Sebi Larson will slow things down. ZSC getting a bit more aggressive now on the forecheck. Dangled you out coming in. Original Snus trying to sneak in there and get the hit. Forced the turnover, unable to do that. Mullen back in. Dangerous pass right there. Picked off by Berkdahl. Berkdahl stops, goes, and behind the net. Dangled you out. Sent all the way back to the point. That'll be Tony. Tony takes a shot, looking for the deflection, can't find it, and Mullen, the goal scorer, breaking it out once again. And we'll look to reset, slow things down a little bit. They don't want to rush it, and get a rougher turnover here, and ZSC dropping back, but there's a slap pass, unfortunately, off the goalie, but Afe will still get to it. Sebi Larson now loses the puck. Dangled you out, taking it down the side, dumps it in. Berkdahl will give chase. Wins the race. Back to Snus, the shot on, blocked by Mr. Nipsely. That was a howitzer coming out from Tony here. And a little bit of a pushback from ZSC, but they're not able to sustain much pressure again as Färjestad gets the breakout. Mr. Nipsely over to Mullen. He does get the puck in. Nice bit of edge work. Keeps it in. Trip right there. Looks like Mullen shot it just wide. Almost at his second of the game. Mr. Nipsely tries to go back to the man who was getting back to his feet. Well, and I will see Färjestad on the power play.
Fortunate penalty there for ZSC. You kind of said it there, Sid. It felt like ZSC started to get a little bit of pushback after that first goal, getting a few opportunities. You saw Tony, who is a threat to score. He has 7 goals at that lefty spot. He had a few chances. Unfortunately, that momentum kind of stalls itself out. Now Färjestad had a chance to kind of regroup, get something up on the power play, and maybe get this deficit doubled to 2-0.
Yeah, kind of an identical situation for one team. They had the chances, then they took a penalty. We saw that with Färjestad. Now it's ZSC to the box, and a man without a stick. That'll present an interesting opportunity if Mullen and Fopatoflin stop running into each other. They do, and Fopatoflin has it behind the net. Up to the point to Mr. Nipsely. Circles around, over to Sebi Larsson. Back to Mr. Nipsely. Looking for the passes here. Nice behind the net. Oh, looking for the wraparound was Fopatoflin. Failed to get it. ZSC will get the clear. Almost hits the goaltender. You can see that stick still on the ice. A little precarious for the breakout. Awkward pass there for Fopatoflin and unable to get it to Mr. Nipsely. And we'll see ZSC on the counterattack here. Berkdahl couldn't make his way past Mullen. And right back up is Färjestad. Mullen with a head of steam up the left wing side, cuts through, has some space, looking for a pass, but turns it over. Afe gets the turnover. Just a hot potato puck right now as neither team can really sustain the possession for too long as ZSC in on the attack. Berkdahl can't maneuver with the puck. Original Snus on the point, covering for the defense. Haldim, bit of a backhand close to the net, and Fopatoflin unable to get that slap pass away. That's one way to stop it, is just to get in the face of the man trying to shoot it. Don't have to cover off if they can't get the shot away. This is picking up a little bit here, the pace in the second period. Sebi Larsson tries to go down low, pokes it free. Perhaps could have had a bit more time to just pick that up and take a shot. Tony sends it in. Nice pass on the break-in. Original Snus takes the shot. Turned away by Provocacia. Maybe a bit tougher than he initially thought. That one going before the far side. A bit of an awkward save animation, but turned it away nonetheless. Back to the point. Oh, man. What a shot from Haldim. Looked like it hit a body out front. Tony down low. No deflection. And Provocacia getting some work in now. ZSC in on the attack. Blood in the water. Comes out to challenge Provocacia with the save.
And Provocacia, he's had to be huge these last few minutes. Things were kind of calm for about 5 to 7 minutes there in the second period, and all of a sudden, ZSC able to kill off that penalty, and they were right back at where they started before they took it. So very encouraging for ZSC to get some opportunities, but Provocacia all over those chances there. Really encouraging for Färjestad to see him making those saves.
Really coming up big right there, especially on that last one. That could have been a dangerous play, but he came out to challenge, really kind of showing his mindset, all the confidence in the world as he turns another one away right there. And Färjestad back up on the attack, the saucer pass, trying to hit Malin on that far side, but they are able to keep it in. Afe sends it down low. Fopatoflin trying to pursue on it, but Haldim will break it out. Sent over, dangled you out, gets hit. Taste of his own medicine right there. Mr. Nipsely laid him out. Someone got hit in the back end too. Physicality picking up. Here comes Sebi Larsson leading the rush. Back to Mr. Nipsely. Oh, and Fopatoflin couldn't pull the trigger. Looked like he had some space. And that will do it for the second period. A flurry of chances at both ends. But the score remains 1-0 in favor of Färjestad from this goal by Mullen.
Yeah, and we knew Mullen had that ability to score, but this game's so back and forth throughout. We've seen both teams take a penalty and have that momentum seized from them, and then they come back right after they kill that penalty off and get something going. Unfortunately, Färjestad able to take advantage of that chance, while ZSC, they were stuffed by the goaltender in Provocacia. And how encouraging is it for Färjestad seeing Provocacia in the substitution, so to say, for McSaven, who we know how good of a goalie he is. We kind of roast those questions. How big of an impact would that make? Provocacia, he's understood the assignment so far. He's made multiple big saves, especially in that second period. A big reason that this is still 1-0.
Yeah, absolutely. Could easily be tied. And we do have an update from, we're calling him, well, essentially, he's our man between the glass right now, Esdor, with an update on the HV71 Djurgården series. This is a big one. This could have huge relegation implications. HV71 up 2-1 after the first period, so definitely have to keep an eye on that as this matchup carries on. ZSC trying to pick up where they left off. The pass somehow doesn't go in. It looks like Provocacia got a piece of it. It went through his legs and then skittered clear of the post. Färjestad dodges another bullet. Mr. Nipsely trying to cut in, gets hit off the puck, and Färjestad got to be careful. This ZSC team really producing the offense right now. But here comes the counterattack. Afe, little area sauce over to Mullen, who's unable to sort of hold the line right there. That will force the offside.
You know, Sid, you mentioned that Djurgården HV71 series. Keep in mind, Djurgården, they're currently in that relegation spot, so if they lose these two games to HV71, they're the automatically relegated team that goes down the Pro Series next season, so that is a huge matchup for both of those sides.
Absolutely, as just wide right there. Original Snus trying to get the rebound in, and you can see ZSC trying everything to beat Provocacia right here, and great saves and perhaps a little bit of luck in his favor right now, and even his goaltender partner in chat giving him the ups. McSaven makes an appearance. Another shot looked like it was turned aside, maybe just wide. Volpatofan looking to break that out. Beautiful sauce pass. Afe can't get the puck pick up, and he will lose the icing race to Tony. But you have to keep sprinting when Afe's on your tail, because you let off that gas pedal for 1 second, he will just blow by you and create havoc in your zone. Mullen wins the defensive zone face-off. Sebi Larson looks to break it out. Great job by Dangled You Out, but he's unable to get that pass out front. That will go out of play once again.
The ESC, they might not have that goal yet, but it has to be really encouraging to see how many chances that they have gotten. You just kind of have to hope that you can beat Provocacia on one of these. They've had some opportunities. They've gotten some zone time. Just got to hope if you're them that you can finally get one capitalized and take it from there.
Yeah, and this, Färjestad team definitely not bad defensively. They, the 7 least goals allowed in this elite division here. It's unfortunately our cameraman is behind the play a bit, but Färjestad has it in the zone. Afe back down low to Mullen. Nice little soft pick run right there as he tries to maintain possession. Afe almost has it in front. Got kind of bumped away. I don't know if that was just a collision or maybe a cheeky veteran play coming out from Tony. Nonetheless, it prevented Afe from getting to that puck in a scoring location. And ZSC maintained possession in the neutral zone. Tony sends over to Berkedal, trying to hit Original Snus. Could not split the defense, though, but had a bit of a gap there. Tony again with a big blast, and Mr. Nipsley's going to have a few bruises after this one. Blocking a lot of shots. Volpatofan, beautiful bit of L skating, can't feed the pass through. Original Snus over to Dangled You Out, who will gain the zone delayed penalty. Dangled You Out sends it back. We'll see if the goalie can get to the bench, see if they even need that power play. Tony back to, it hits Chich. Chich, what a pass, what a save by Provocacia!
We talk about it all the time, Sid, how big saves can really change the way that the game goes. That was absolutely huge from Provocacia. They might have to kill off this penalty, but man, oh man, ZSC, the penalty doesn't matter if you get that goal, and Provocacia keeping this lead for Färjestad. What a play.
What a performance so far from the netminder of Färjestad as ZSC go on the power play, looking to somehow get off of this schneid that they are collectively on, all thanks to Provocacia back there, who is committing highway robbery at the present state. Tony in the umbrella spot, the rebound, the save once again. Provocacia passed up to Mullen. A little dangerous, got to be careful, and he does elect to clear it right there. Just trying to buy a few seconds, I guess. Could have been extremely dangerous had he turned that puck over. Tony leads the rush. The break-in attempt goes to Haldim. Stops up, allows his men to get set up. Haldim passed over, another save! Didn't quite get over for it, but Original Snus' shot didn't have the accuracy. Tony on the point again, shot deflected, saved again by Provocacia. Berkedal trying to maintain possession, back to Tony, turned away again by Provocacia, and here comes Volpatofan. Trying to move that puck away, gets bumped off, and I got to feel all the momentum right now in ZSC's favor. Färjestad in a bit of survival mode right now. Got to try to get this puck out. Good intercept by Mullen. Sends it over to Sebi Larson. Can't clear it out. The pressure from ZSC too much. Berkedal can't maintain possession. Back to Tony. Tony looking for the shot. Back to Haldim. Deflected. Saved again by Provocacia. The forecheck getting to Sebi Larson. He's doing everything he can to keep that puck away from him. 2 men on him. They get it out front, and they do score. Original Snus on the one-time finally beats Provocacia, and this game is tied in the dying moments of the third period.
Oh man, and we might not be in the chat for ZSC, but you kind of have to feel that they are just like, oh my goodness, finally we beat this guy in Provocacia. So many opportunities, really the better team in the last 15 minutes or so, and just nothing was going in for them. Provocacia making some saves, a few shots, maybe a little bit off in terms of the accuracy, but they kept at it, they kept going. You had to assume one was going to go in sooner or later, and CSC finally able to capitalize to tie this one.
And at this point, it's about Färjestad. They got to collectively come together, repay their goaltender with with a bit more goal support here. He's been phenomenal for them. They need an answer because right now the momentum completely in favor of ZSC as they're back in on the attack, but a 2-on-1 developing. Afe, what a poke by Tony. Breaks that up before it really was able to get started. And now Tony leading the rush. I Dangled You Out. Nice little bit of L-skating, sends it through. Berkedal just wide. What a shot that was. Could have been the go-ahead goal. Mr. Nipsley. There's a little cross-play with Sebi Larson up to Fopatoflin. Back to the middle for Afe. They can't get into the zone. ZSC snuffing them out right now. There simply isn't any space. Berkedal back to Tony, and I dangled you out. Bit of a miscommunication there. Original Snus is offside.
Man, ZSC, they've had a few of those shots where they've just been a little bit off, where they've had some open net, and the accuracy on the shot just a little bit wide to the left or the right, respectively. You got to kind of wonder if maybe some of those shots, if they don't win this game, come back to bite them.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I mean, when you have the chances like that, yeah, I mean, those misses, they can really haunt you, especially if you do lose the game. A big hit coming in there, transition play. Tony leading the rush after the collision, gets hit in turn. Toflan crushes him, and Mullen on the attack, a 3-on-1. Mullen tries to sneak it in, doesn't quite get it off with the follow-up opportunity. Turned aside by Chich, and that could have been deadly here with 16.7 seconds left. Still, offense's zone face-off for Färjestad. This is big. Mullen loses it. Tony sends it around to Berkedal. Can't quite make the connection. A few seconds left. One more rush, perhaps. Sebi Larson can't get around the defense. The forecheck coming. Berkedal elects to try to pass it out. The shot from across might have had a chance to go in. Probably turned aside by Provocacia. This one is going to overtime.
We talked about the missed shots, and ZSC said, okay, try this on for size. They shot one all the way from the neutral zone, and I believe that might have been on net, actually, to Sin. But, man, usually you don't talk about glorifying overtimes. How big of a point is that for ZSC? Remember, they are in that playoff race at that 11th spot, trying to avoid falling down into that relegation series zone. So getting that point, absolutely huge to stay over YMCA Esports and Northern Ascendancy. So may or may not get the win. That's yet to be seen, but they do secure themselves a point in a critical standings battle. So that has got to be huge for them. Want to get the 2 points ideally, though, and you got to feel it the way they played in that third period. They're liking their chances.
Absolutely. I mean, it would kind of seem like at this point, if ZFC loses this game, they'd be essentially snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. With the way they played in the latter half of this game, they're just really taking it to Färjestad, who simply hasn't had the answer. They haven't been able to sustain their offensive pressure. Their counterattacks are falling short by terrific plays at the blue line.
I thought of another way.
So, again, all it takes is one chance. It can still easily go Färjestad's way, but you might have to look for some other looks right here. That could be bad. Berkedal taking in a partial breakaway right here, getting closed off, tries to sneak it in, somehow stays out. Somehow stays out right there, hovering on the line. Mullen almost knocked it in, but keeps it out at the end of the day. Just like that, it could have gone the other way, and oh no, talking about momentum swings. Färjestad going to the power play.
Oh, man, that is a crusher for ZSC. You were inches away from taking this win, and the invisible barrier that is the red line denies them, and you take a penalty on the other end. Now it is imperative that they kill this off against a strong power play, third best in the league in Färjestad.
See what they want to do to set up. Going to be, got to be careful of watching for Afe here. He's the guy that they want to feed. Craziness in front of the crease right there. Somehow stays out. Sebi Larson. Sebi Larson over to Fopatoflan and gloved by Chich. That save was massive.
And we know that Chich can make those saves. He might not be at that 80% mark that many goalies like to be at, but we know that when he is called upon, he can make that big save. We've seen both goalies do that this game. Now it's Chich's time on this penalty kill for ZSC.
They passed over to Mullen, another big save. Mullen looking for the pass. Oh, goes for the shot, trying to replicate his first goal there. Just sails wide. Unfortunately, Wilt cleared the zone. One more rush, one more chance to get set up here for Färjestad. Over Sevi Larson, can't handle the pass. Haldin will clear it. Mr. Nipsley, it will retrieve it. That'll pretty much do it for the power play. One more chance to at least gain the line with the man advantage. Mullen does. Mullen guards the puck. Sebi Larson down low. Over to Afe. Couldn't get a stick on it. Gets the hip check off. A man goes flying and they keep the puck in. Mullen can't get the pass across to Afe. And Tony look to work it out. I dangled you out. A little bit of trouble there with Fopatoflan. Tony will take it back. Haldin now. Sends up to Berkedal. Berkedal gets poked off. Mullen can't retrieve it. The shot from the corner passed all the way up, and a nice poke from Tony there to break up that stretch pass as Afe was trying to get off to the races. Aldim. Original Snus now to dangled you out. Nice spin around the check. Over to Berkdahl. Back on the short side. Testing it. The puck's still there. Puck's still loose. Mr. Nipsley trying to break it out. Trying to pass up, but picked up by Tony. Once again, ice beginning to tilt in the favor of ZSC, it feels like. Färjestad trying to get that puck in. Berkdahl will begin to work it out. Aldim over to Original Snus. Looking for the zone entry, but snuffed out by Färjestad. Sebi Larsson. Sent back, taking their time with it. Don't want to create a turnover here. Got to be careful. Mullen gets bumped by Dangley. Fortunately, wasn't knocked down. That could have been a lot worse than it was. Mr. Nipsley gains the line. Sent to Mullen. Mullen backhand just wide. Original Snus. Sent all the way back. Aldim will settle it. Avoids the forecheck. Over to his defensive partner, Tony, who misses the pass. That one does not go for icing. They'll be forced to reset in Färjestad. This pace just feverish right now. Sebi Larsson hits Afe, Fopatoflin. They're trying to find some kind of space. It simply isn't there. Finally a bit, but they get closed off nearly immediately. Berkdahl, pass intercepted by Mullen. Can't do much with it. Great recovery. And here comes ESC. I dangled you out. Tries to send to the slot. Taken away by Mullen. Nice job to avoid the pressure. And the slap pass there it comes, just cleanly picked off from Haldane. Didn't even need to look at it play. Look at the play. He knew what was coming. Aldim gets the puck in. Sebi Larsson up the boards and decides to take it out himself after it bounced around a little bit, and Afe couldn't get possession. Mullen with the intercept in a neutral zone. Takes it in. It's immediately surrounded by about 3 different jerseys. That's kind of how it's been here for both of these teams trying to break it in. The collapse on the puck carrier, but this could be it. Afe, partial breakaway. Does he have the space and the time? What a poke! But the follow-up opportunity, they score! Fofa Toflin wins it in overtime. Färjestad will take that extra point.
That is huge there from Färjestad, and what a job from Fopa Toflin, just following the play and keeping that one alive. ZSC did a good job staying back, fending off that original opportunity, but you know what they say is hockey coach speech. Do not give up on the play. Drive the net, get in front. You never know how you'll be rewarded. Fopa Toflin keeping to that hockey play right there, gets in position, and has an open net right through the legs of the ZSC goalie in Chich, and wow, what a game. Färjestad pulls off that one when it really felt that their backs were against the wall for about 2 periods there.
Yeah, I mean, several opportunities. It felt like it was just a moment away, and, well, it became inches away with that play that just sort of, couldn't quite cross the goal line there early on in that overtime when Berkdahl drove the net and it somehow stayed out. I think Provocacia got caught a little bit. Mullen was just able to sweep that one clear, but I mean, you can see from the stats right there, time on attack was relatively close, but the registered shots from ZSC very much in their favor. Oftentimes we do see Färjestad kind of going for the quality over quantity, but just from the eye test alone, stats out the window, you could really feel that ZSC had the advantage down the stretch there. It's just some of those saves earlier on from Provocacia. I think that was the difference in this one.
And that was one of the stories that we talked about entering this series. Provocacia coming in for McSaven, only 2 games played. He had good stats in those 2 games with an 87 save percentage, 1.5 goals against average. But it's hard to really give a fair assessment of that when you have such a small sample size. And Provocacia, he came in and said, okay, well, you want good goaltending, I'll give you that and then some. He was a huge reason Färjestad was able to win this game because some of those chances ZSC got in that third period, Provocacia was able to stop. There were 2 or 3 really good goal-scoring chances that were high danger, and Provocacia was there for every single one of them. So it could have easily been in ZSC's favor, but the goaltending of Provocacia and the high-quality opportunities that Färjestad got when they were in the zone really made the difference in this game, even if they weren't winning that shot battle, which is something they're not used to losing. Most shots in the league coming in. So a nice job from Färjestad to gut that one out, and all in the back of that goaltender that we didn't really know we would see out of.
Yeah, he was absolutely phenomenal. And honestly, you could argue that he stole that game for Färjestad with the way he played throughout the course of that, and definitely down the stretch as Färjestad were able to get that game-winning goal. And we will set the stage for the second game of 2 between these 2 teams after word from our lovely, lovely sponsors. So don't go anywhere.
vastapuolelle. Kummalle tulee liikkuvat taakse kiekkomaali! Ja Wilhelm jälleen kerran nakkikioskille. Smokey Bites ja Snacks ovat tuoneet hienosti lisää leveyttä Wilhelm-joukkueeseen.
Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.
All right, guys, and I mean, what a game. There's no better way to set the stage for a second game than to just remember what happened in that first game between these two teams. High-flying action, some crazy save from both of these goaltenders, but in the end, it was Färjestad who was able to get the victory here, and we are getting a bit of word from around the league as HV71 defeat Djurgården 5-3. That does mean Djurgården will be in that automatic relegation position, if I'm not mistaken as well. Currently, Conquer ahead of Roots,
Wow.
if I'm not mistaken. That is surprising and could help Conquer out quite a bit.
Yeah, you have to remember, Conquer was in that 15th spot, and we came into today not knowing if Conquer would maybe slide down to 16th with having that tough matchup against a Roots team that is maybe not in that playoff positioning, but it's a really good squad in their own right. So we didn't really know how that would work between Conquer in that 15th spot and then Djurgården really having everything ahead of them at 16, playing HV71, who was not necessarily clear of relegation themselves. So that is huge for Conquer, not just for Djurgården to be losing their game, but to be taking care of business themselves, let alone against a team that was just outside of that playoff hunt.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it's every single game matters, and unfortunately for this point, Djurgården will have to work their way back into the elite division from pro, as they are in that automatic relegation position just with the one game remaining. You can see there, I don't think it's completely updated, at least for Conquer. I mean, I guess they could still maybe work their way out. Okay. So yeah, just the one game in there. I mean, still the potential to work their way out, but Conquer being ahead in the game right now, if they're able to, to get those 2 points, it's done and dusted for Djurgården. Yeah. So Conquer trying to take, their own destiny into their hands, so to speak here. But that's kind of the race. Sometimes we're watching how the playoff, who's going to get into that last, playoff position at this point in the season. But right now we're kind of seeing who's going to be able to survive the relegation right now, and who's going to be the 3 teams who will have to, still fight their way to stay in this division.
Yeah, and another team that's kind of scoreboard watching a little bit, it's at that 12th spot in YMCA, and Northern Ascendancy still have 2 games to play. We do not know the results on that just yet, but you have to remember, 13, 14, and 15 do have to play those relegation series. So if Northern Ascendancy is able to grab a point, YMCA would jump down. They'd have to play in that. Northern Ascendancy would steer clear. So still a lot to shake out on that right side of the board, but Sin, we've got some more business to take care of in front of our screen here.
Absolutely, as we get back into the action here, Färjestad versus ZSC. Big hit after the whistle here. A little bit of animosity coming out now. ZSC, as you see, in those beautiful blue on blue home uniforms, and Färjestad in the white and green. Neutral zone face-off here. Mullen with a nice tie-up play. Folpatoflin will get it in. Perhaps thought Afe was going to go to the boards. They get it nonetheless. Folpatoflin trying a little spin play right there. Afe gets it. Can't capitalize on the wraparound. Berkedal with a nice intercept, reading that, but a good job by Mr. Nipsley to get back and disrupt that play. Mullen up to Afe. Area sauce over to Sebi Larsson, who works it in. Stops on the point, sent back to Folpatoflin. All the way across, hits the back, that unfortunately bounces away. Mr. Nipsley trying to keep it in, but Berkedal will work it out. Over to Dangled You Out. Tries the spin play. Mullen gets it for a second, but Original Snus keeps it in. The shot on net turned aside. That one had some heat on it, but Provocacia got the blocker on. Mullen over to Afe. Using that speed down the left wing side. Nice stick work. Nice spin play. Mullen has it, but a great job of aggressiveness from Tony to come up and poke that away. Folpatoflin can't get the shot away. I dangled you out. Well, I need to be careful with it. Turns it over. Folpatoflin in backhand. What a save by Chich. Haldeem will work it out now. Original Snus up to Tony and stripped away by Sebi Larsson. Over to Mullen. Back to Sebi Larsson, who drops it back. Taking their time a little bit. What a play somehow, though. A little bit offside, unfortunately. Again, it comes out of nowhere. All of a sudden, you see someone winding up with the shot, and Afe's there trying to beat the defense. The shot on, turned aside. Brian Provocacia. Shot on again, turned aside. And couldn't get the pass away. Mullen's got to be careful with it. A forechecker bearing down on him, sends it around, kept in by Haldim for the moment. Afe trips up over him, unfortunately. Couldn't quite get free. The pass wasn't there to begin with. Dangerous pass, picked off. Original Sus with the shot, saved by Provocacia, picking up where he left off.
And you know, Sin, you took the words right out of my mouth. Both of these teams picked up right where they left off in game one. Big saves from both Chich and Provocacia, and both of these teams putting on the pressure and getting chances. I think this is just going to be the trend that we're going to see from these two.
Absolutely, it's a shot there, whistles just wide. Just outside the reach of the glove of Provocacia, broken up all the way to Mr. Nipsley up the ice. And Afe has a little trouble with it at the line as he was stopping. Got poked off his stick. Berkedal now enters the zone for ZSC. Maintains possession, sent around. I dangled you out in front to Snus. Oh, and that backhand had a chance, but Provocacia once again says no. Tony up to Snus. No stop and go play, gets it down low. The pass a little off the mark. Hard to handle for Dangled You Out, but they maintain possession. Dangled You Out maintaining that big power forward build. Trying to just keep that puck in, and the grinding style coming out from ZSC down low, but Färjestad do break it out. Sebi Larsson with the speed. What a pass, and somehow doesn't go in. Hit the side of the net for Foppa-Toflin, but what a play from Färjestad. Mr. Nipsley down low to Foppa-Toflin. Back to Mr. Nipsley. Skitters toward the net, and Chich will freeze it.
Right after ZSC had that plethora of opportunities, Färjestad comes down the other end and gets a few themselves. Now we'll see that offensive faceoff. We talked about that faceoff percentage for Malin. We'll see if that shows up right here.
Here comes Dangled You Out. Has to stop a bit as two of his men go offside. Tony now over to Snus. Nice play by Foppa-Toflin trying to read that, break it up, and get a rush going the other way. But ZSC still got the puck in, overskates it a little bit, could present trouble, but he's able to work it out. Bit of a bouncing puck in the neutral zone. Mullen able to work it in, and Afe to Foppa-Toflin. Foppa-Toflin back to Mullen, tries to go down low to Afe. Pass doesn't connect. Aldine working his way out, hits Dangled You Out. Quick pass to Berkedal in the middle, quick pass back. A major collision right there. Someone went flying across the ice. I didn't see who hit the... Oh, there's a response from I Dangled You Out, of course. In this game, picking up. Foppa-Toflin can't get the shot on net. The puck's still in front. Finally being able to be worked out, but not out of the zone. Mullen, bit of L skating, tries to go home. Oh, and two shots on, somehow don't go in. The follow-up opportunity for Mr. Nipsley, I believe, hit the skate of his own teammate, and somehow Färjestad don't come away with a goal there at the end of the period.
And the two goalies have not been the only one making saves in these two games. We've seen a lot of blocks and bodies in front of the net making an impact on some of these goal-scoring opportunities. But yet again, Sin, a lot of close chances, a lot of front of the net just inches from going in type of plays from really both of these two teams. We saw a lot of that in game one. Game two has been no different as, man, oh man, 5 shots apiece, about a minute of time on attack going to Färjestad. This has been about as even as it gets for both of these two teams, and you can just tell how much both ZSC and Färjestad are playing for in terms of that standings positioning.
Yeah, it's incredible sometimes, you know, the kind of matchups we get from these two teams that obviously these teams only play each other, you know, one set per season in the regular season. And it's interesting just what kind of matchups can create the excitement. And for some reason, this Färjestad ZSC matchup has all the excitement in the world right now. And it's a shame that it'll end after, you know, just after this game, but it'll be fun to keep watching these teams. Unfortunately, we will not see them meeting in the playoffs, but man, oh man, are they putting on a show. It's Haldim. Settles this puck over to Tony. Tries to enter Foppa-Toflin with a big hit. Mullen resets back to his defense. Opts not to go for the quick counterattack. Looking for a more controlled play. Up to Mullen. Tries to go over to Foppa-Toflin. Couldn't connect. Haldim gets bumped off the puck. Here comes Mullen. Loses it for a second. Couldn't quite get the pass away, but a nice forecheck to maintain possession. Mullen looking for that short side again. Foppa-Toflin behind the net to Afe, who shoots it on, and Chich had to be sharp on that glove save.
There's a name we haven't called in a minute, Sin. Afe, you kind of said it earlier, how he has that ability to be quiet for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then all of a sudden, bang, he's right there with a high-scoring opportunity off of a really well-set play from Färjestad.
Shot on, a deflection chance for Afe. Couldn't quite connect with a couple whacks at it. Did Sebi Larsson have after the first one was blocked, and he did get it on net. Maintaining possession here. This is good for them, just trying to take some of the wind out of the sails of that ZSC team. Afe in, back to Sebi Larsson, takes it down low. Sebi Larsson tries to pass across, get bumped off the puck. Mullen covering for him. Over to Dangle Duout. Dangle Duout will have some space. Spinorama chance! Backhand goes just wide. Dangle Duout. Berkedal trying to get on net, and there he is from the point. Haldin sneaks in, picks up a gift of a loose puck, puts it home. ZSC up 1-0.
Great job from ZSC there. They got into the zone with a pretty fast-paced entry. It wasn't the typical slowing things down, kind of puck possession-based breakout that you would normally see here on the EU side of things, but they kind of rushed that thing down. We saw a beautiful move from my Dangle Duout to create that opportunity, and CSC, as they do so well, just kept at it, kept going, didn't let up, and the defenseman in Haldin comes up there for the play, a guy that we didn't really expect to be super offensive in this game compared to his D partner in Tony. A nice job for him, the second goal of the season to make this 1-0 in favor of ZSC.
Seen Haldin throughout the course of the season be the recipient of a few fortuitous kind of goals there. And when he rushes in, he picks up a rebound. The last time we covered this team, he had one incredibly similar to it. And ended up being, I think, the only goal ZSC scored in that series. What a turnover, though. So hold that thought, as ZSC in a bit of danger here for a quick response from Färjestad. But here they come on the rush. Berkedal with some speed, trying to beat him wide. Doesn't quite do it. Sebi Larsson, nice poke. And that could be dangerous as Afe gets the loose puck. Afe cannot maintain possession as Tony gets the poke off, but Mullen has it. Gets bumped off by Original Snus. The puck skitters dangerously close to Afe, but he can't grit it. The dump and chase coming out, Berkedal. And they can't read the bounce, but they do get the hit away. And here come Färjestad. Sebi Larsson leading the rush. Sebi Larsson, nice bit of move. Oh, he just couldn't maintain the possession. He kind of looked like he did a good job at deking out Haldin, but then ran into, unfortunately, a couple other ZSC defenders. But back and forth here. Neither team unable to establish themselves for too long. Mullen up to Afe. And Dangle Duout with the turnover once again, back and forth. Berkedal has it for a moment, is able to get it down low. Original Snus takes the shot, bouncing around there. I'm not too sure if it got through or hit a body. Kept in there by Haldin. Excellent job on the point. Dangle Duout to Original Snus. Back to Tony. Tony with a nice delay. Works it back down the half wall to Snus. Back up to Tony, takes the shot, hits a body. The shot from Dangle Duout. Looks like it hit the side of the net. Berkedal keeps it in, but unable to do so for too long. Here comes Mullen. Up to Afe, gains the line. Almost maintains the puck. They got to be careful. Berkedal couldn't quite get the step on the defense, but sends it to Snus. Over to Haldin with the shot. Can't get through. And Fopatoflin will look to break it out. A big hit coming out. Can't quite create the turnover, but Färjestad got to be careful. The aggressiveness from ZSC cranking up even with the 1-goal lead. Up to Fopatoflin. He'll gain the line. Gets it down low. Stops by the side of the net. Looking for a pass, looking for something. Can't quite get it. Mullen to maintain possession. The trip coming out from Fopatoflin. And once again, they look like they're getting momentum. But a penalty comes out and they will head to the box. ZSC going to the power play.
This is going to be huge for both of these teams. ZSC, they've had a lot of the momentum. It feels like they have had a lot more of the opportunities consistently throughout this game. Now they didn't get a chance with the power play to kind of get something going in and maybe extend this to a 2-goal lead.
And they're going to have a 5-on-3. The pass to the slot draws yet another trip. I believe that is, that's going to be Mr. Nipsley headed to the box. So without one of their defensemen now as well will be Färjestad to kill off this 5-on-3.
Yeah, and Färjestad number 4th on the season in penalty kill percentage, 87.8%. They're facing a power play that struggled a little bit at 9% worse in the league. That PK gonna have to show us on Färjestad, hoping those numbers come to fruition on what is a critical PK for them in the second.
Yeah, and unfortunately for them, the initial clear goes off. It's a bit harder to gain the line after that initial clear, but they do have a distinct advantage with skaters. And Original Snus working around the perimeter. The shot from Toe. Oh my goodness, off the post with the follow-up opportunity as Provocacia was sprawled out after the initial shot. Haldin takes the shot, turned away by Provocacia. Maintain possession, getting some good looks here on the power play. Original Snus backs off. Down low, nice little quick pass out, and it skitters just wide. They couldn't get the clear. Original Snus now takes a shot, blockered away. There was space on that short side, and nice reverse hit there. Keeps the puck in play. One man out of the box. The other man now out of the box as well, but time has expired. A huge kill for Färjestad to just stay within 1 goal of ZSC.
A potentially momentous kill for Färjestad as well, when they kind of had their backs against the walls on 5-on-5, and then you get that 5-on-4 and then a 5-on-3, so for them to kill that off could be absolutely huge the way this game goes. And now, if you're ZSC, how do you play this? You've been chasing this game in the same situation during game 1. Now, they'd have been the beneficiaries of that 1-0 lead. So you see that they're not really backing off and getting aggressive, but you don't want to make any mistakes either. We've seen a few chances the Färjestad has had where they've had these 3-on-1, 2-on-1 breaks, and ZSC has just gotten back on them. You don't want to play with fire too much with a team like Färjestad, especially with the forwards that they have in guys like Afe, Malin, and Fopatoflin. So we'll see if they kind of pull back from that or not, or they keep with that aggressive style in your face forward check that they've had these first 2 periods.
Yeah, I mean, as of right now, it's been tough for Färjestad to get, at least get some chances off so many of those odd mans as well. So if I'm ZSC, I think I got to stay the course here. I think if you back off, it opens up too many doors, perhaps, for Färjestad. As quick shot coming out from Dangle out, probably going for the hit right there. But hey, not too bad. Just putting the puck on net, making sure Povakachi is ready after the period break. Malin back to the point to Sebi Larsson, take the shot on, doesn't quite get through. Fopatoflin now with the puck. Malin, but to Fopatoflin, and a shot that can only be described as a rocket ship goes all the way back into their end, and they'll be forced to reset the poke. And interesting pickup there, animation for Povakachi. An errant pass, and yeah, let's get, just blow the whistle, get a completely new puck, because clearly something's wrong with that one.
Yeah, and breathe if you are Färjestad, and especially if you were Povakachi, who has some pretty dicey chances there not to his zone fall. Chance for ZSC to maybe establish the zone here.
You lose the face-off and being broken out now by Färjestad. The cross attempt from Afe and Malin, they do collide. Malin, again, maybe looking for that short side, and then looking for the middle. It's just simply not there. ZSC doing a great job of taking away the high percentage areas. Tony takes the shot away, and Original Snus picked it up. I don't think he was ready for it. Couldn't get the shot away, but they maintain possession down low. Dangle out with that big frame, holding off the attack. But Fopatoflin gets it and will start the breakout of his own. Up to Afe. Afe slows up past the line, back to Sebi Larsson, who goes in. Sebi Larsson loses possession, and once again, broken out quickly by ZSC. Färjestad simply cannot establish their attack. Dangle out on the half wall. Delaying, sends it back down low. Berkedal will get it for a split second before Patoflin comes up with a loose puck. Sebi Larsson joining the rush. You're seeing the activation a lot from these Färjestad defensemen. They need to start throwing a lot more at ZSC to try to get the chances. We're about halfway through this 3rd period, and still a 1-0 scoreline in favor of ZSC. Passed up the wall. Doesn't quite work, but the breakout coming. Fopatoflin back to Afe, who gains the line. To Sebi Larsson, back down low to Fopatoflin. The pass out front, can't connect. And once again, broken out by ZSC. Berkedal unable to pick it up. Looked like he L1'd right there. Probably trying to deke. And passed over. Fopatoflin does get it, not offside, to Sebi Larsson, who scores! Tie game now. Färjestad capitalizing off of a bounce. Sebi Larsson and his aggressiveness pays off. Färjestad even this one up.
And how interesting, Sin, that it is our 2 defensemen that have the goals. We saw Haldin get the scoring kicked off for CSC, and Sebi Larsson says, hey, now, I can do that too. I have 26 points on the season, with 7 of them being goals. That's tied for 5th out of all defensemen in the ECL Elite Division. And man, could it not have come at a better time for Färjestad, who felt like they had chances few and far between, as CSC trying to respond there.
Yeah, quick response there. They shot on net. Povakachi gloves it and freezes it. So we're back to kind of square one here, 1-1. And again, anyone's game as this one's tied. Down low, around a quick little wrap chance. The puck bouncing around Povakachi's legs. It's able to get the smother on it eventually, but a little bit dicey there.
Yeah, and I think that this is why that goal for Färjestad was so huge, because like what I was kind of saying, their chances have been few and far between. It feels like ZSC's really been the aggressive compared to Färjestad this game, taking advantage of those chances with time diminishing. So huge, so a nice job there from Haldin, as you see again, ZSC right back on the tight attack and right back to that aggressive playstyle they've had all game.
Yeah, it was a howitzer shot from Tony at the point. Provocacia came way out to try to challenge it, still whistled wide. As Mr. Nipsley trying to get that in, Fopatoflin pokes it ahead on the back of Haldin, but can't strip the puck off him. Good puck protection. Nice poke right there to break it up, but they still get the puck in. Original snus to Tony. Back, and Afe will get the puck. Passes it up a little bit off the mark, however. And they will remain a bit more on the defensive. Slap dump right there, but no one had any speed, so kind of a free possession now for Färjestad. Over to Sebi Larsson, up to Afe. Nice stick work, gets through. Gan trying to just push his way through, but the poke's too much for him to handle. Again, Berkedal comes in after a nice bit of L-skating from Snus. He gets the puck back. Tony now, shot blocked. Snus, and with it again, couldn't pull the trigger, and the puck will just be chipped out by Afe. Tony gets clobbered by Fopatoflin, but took the hit to make the play, and they maintain possession. Sebi Larsson with a good poke. Forecheck bearing down on him, but he calmly gets that puck away. Mullen tries to feed Afe, but hits a stick. Another major collision. That's another thing. The physicality between these two teams as well has just been steadily ramping up. Fopatoflin trying to get the bump. Mr. Nipsley gloves that shot down, but Fopatoflin has a bit of trouble with it. Can't get it out. ZSC. Snus and Berkedal working down low against Mr. Nipsley, who does it 2-on-1, gets that puck away, and Fopatoflin will work it out. Nice bit of aggressiveness coming out from Original Snus. They're really doing a good job of reading where these passes are going to go, see if they could jump them and force those turnovers, and I think that's been a big contributor to their success, being able to maintain pressure.
Yeah, most definitely there, Sid, and you kind of see that's a big reason that Färjestad hasn't gotten those chances. We talked about ZSC being the aggressor, but good offense starts with good defense, and that aggressiveness on the defensive end while staying in position, a big reason to that.
Absolutely is danger again for Färjestad, struggling on the breakout. ZSC trying to get that one more chance. It almost seems like they're ragging, but they're just trying to get that puck broken out. There it is right there. 7 seconds left. Afe in on the attack. Shot for the rebound, but Mullen was going wider for perhaps a one-time. The rebound wasn't as good as it could have been for a shot, a follow-up shot, but it was there. Nevertheless, we're heading to overtime once again between these two teams. What a set of games.
And ZSC might have just put on one of the best forechecking displays that you will ever see right there. That was a solid 40 seconds of time that they killed off because Färjestad wasn't able to get out of their own zone. They kept them hemmed in their own offensive zone, and Färjestad, they weren't able to get enough ideal opportunities there in that last minute because of that aggressive play style that we were talking about defensively, and you're kind of seeing that play itself out, and it did at a big moment, and ZSC, once again, for that standings battle, gaining another point. So we'll see if they can get that second point in this game. That will be 3 out of 4. You got to assume that will be good enough to have them avoid the relegation series, but you never want to be too sure. Getting that extra point, you know they are harping on in that locker room right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they got to feel like that last one got away from them. 3 out of 4 points is great, but yeah, I mean, they you know, that first one definitely feels like it got away. Yeah, they need this extra one right here. It'll go a heck of a long way. So Mr. Nipsley now breaking it out. See what Färjestad want to do here in overtime. How are they going to sustain some pressure? But here we go, 2-on-1. Dangled out now with the puck. Bit off the legs, but glove save by Provocacia. What a save off a tremendous move. He really did dangle him out. Got the shot away, but it was gloved down by Provocacia.
Oh, and he's gone for a few of those moves. Talk about a guy living to his name, and I dangled you out. He's done that a few times in this game, and it almost ended up in an OT winner right there.
Really did. It looked like Provocacia was sort of adjusting to his right as he shot back to the screen left side and just gloved. There's Afe trying to get that in. Fopatoflin has it. Looks to cut back and test that short side, but they just can't sustain. Snus trying to break it out. Pestered by Fopatoflin, who does not get loose, but here comes the forecheck. I dangled you out, first one there. Can't force the turnover, but a pass just doesn't connect. Sebi Larsson had a bit of trouble with it. Not a bad pass by any means, just couldn't corral it. Mr. Nipsey now retrieves the puck. Pressured by dangled you out, somehow doesn't force the puck loose. And Sebi Larsson will try his side. Fopatoflin now almost gets the puck in, but it will lead to an offside here. Again, ZSC just doing a great job on the defensive end, especially at the blue line.
Yeah, and that's been a big reason that they've had that advantage in that momentum. We kind of talked about how the chances for Färjestad have kind of felt few and far between. Well, like we said earlier, that is why the defense has been what sparked that. And they get another chance there, Sin.
Oh my goodness. Almost a game winner once again as ZSC seemingly coming out of nowhere themselves there, but unable to capitalize. They will get the O-zone face-off because of it. This is a big chance for Snus here. You see them in that aggressive set. They probably have a play in mind if they win it. They unfortunately don't. Mullen, good job in his own end to stave off the pressure. 4 now, but there's the forecheck. They can't sustain. Mr. Nipsley glides, and Mullen just forces his way through. Doesn't have the puck for long, though. So here comes Dangled you out. A little bit of trouble as Fopatoflin doing a great job with that stick. They still get it through. Berkedal takes a shot wide. Sebi Larson, interesting little stick work right there. And unfortunately, what a shot pass that was. And hit after the whistle as well. Sebi Larson not happy about it, but just letting Afe know, hey, if you do get ahead of us, you're going to pay for it in some way or another. One back, Haldim rips the shot, hits the body in front. Poked ahead by Sebi Larson, over to Mr. Nipsley, back to Afe. Afe driving through, and there it is, Sebi Larson, a 2-goal game, and gets the second most important one, the game winner in overtime.
And both from the kind of same sense of him just driving the net and being in position, almost an identical goal to the OT winner that we saw in game 1 for Färjestad from Fopatoflin. This time it was the left defenseman in Sebi Larson for his second of the game, just in position to scoop that puck up, get it on the backhand, had nothing but an open cage and white mesh in front of him, and Färjestad stealing 4 out of 4 points in this game, but ZSC, you at least get 2 of the 4 to help your playoff hopes or your relegation hopes. Nevertheless, so a little bit of positives to take for both of these two teams. For Färjestad, big for them to clinch themselves at least that 4 spot for the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely massive for Färjestad, and this is kind of what they do, their MO a little bit. If they get outplayed sometimes, but they still find a way. It's that counterattack. It's capitalizing on your opportunities, and that was the difference. ZSC dictated the pace a lot of the times. They got a lot of the chances. You see, they crept ahead in time and attack after trailing after the first period and a half, maybe 2 periods. But they only put that 1 goal on the board. Credit to Provocacia, credit a little bit to some of their misfortune as well. But when it comes down to it, the good teams find a way. The good teams capitalize on their chances. They make it happen. That's what Färjestad did, and that's where ZSC fell just short.
Yeah, a win may not always be pretty, but all that matters is that you get that win at the end of the day. And Sid, I think you said it best right there. The best teams that are in that upper echelon, especially here in the elite division where all of these teams are so high of quality. It's just sometimes it's a matter of how can you get the job done. And Färjestad, not just this season, but for years, they've been so good at doing that. No matter who's in the lineup for them or no matter who is in the lineup against them, they just always seem to be able to do what they need to do to find a way. It may not be flashy, it may not be in style, and it may even take a little bit of luck at times, but hey, man, you know what they say, like I said, sometimes it just matters that you get that win. They don't ask how, they ask how many. And for Färjestad in this one, they get a big 2-1 win. They get that 4 seed, and now they can look forward to the playoffs, either playing IQ or potentially Havu, depending on how our next series goes. As we thought we had good action right there, we're going to have some more here in just a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the next matchup is a big one. Again, the former champions against a team who has been a champion multiple times before. Some questions whether or not Havu was falling off, but this season they've really kind of made a big push back into it. But again, that matchup just absolutely insane. We're going to have to take a little bit of a breather here ourselves to recover from the hecticness that was that 2 overtime series here. But you said it, huge 4 points for Färjestad because that'll help a lot with the seeding. We said it. I think you said it best. You don't necessarily want to face Frölunda in the first round, and whereas Färjestad's positioning themselves, they should hopefully avoid that probability. So, guys, thank you very much for watching that first series. Don't go anywhere. We will be back with our matchup between Havu and H-Reds after this brief intermission.